Okay, today we were playing a game on Oasis. The average SR of this game was 2,591, and we will be playing most of the game as Soldier, though the last round is entirely Pharah, but the last round didn't last very long, so most of this game is Soldier. Our current team composition is Orisa, Winston, McCree, Soldier, Anna, and Moira. So the thing to be sad about is basically just, we don't have a Mercy, which remains very sad because Mercy's still really strong. Other than that, there's not very much to say about it, because we've got an off-tank, we've got a main tank, and we've got Soldier and McCree, who are two very consistent DPS. McCree is pretty good at dealing with flankers, so is Winston, both of which are very common things to see on King of the Hill maps. So, it's fine. In the accompanying email, it says, how much babysitting should I do as Soldier 76, particularly when there's a deep flanker on the enemy team like Tracer or Genji? And the other thing is, also considering our failure to even approach in the last round, what should the switches have been to deal with the enemy team comp? Was one team member's focus on the Reaper correct? So, the first question, Soldier is not very good at babysitting. That's more of McCree's thing, as far as the hit scan DPS go, because McCree has hard CC, hard crowd control, I should say. So, he is a lot better at dealing with flankers than Soldier is. You do have an obligation as Soldier to help the backline with the flankers, especially since you are probably near them anyway. And putting down your biotic field next to the Anna or whatever that's getting bullied around by the Tracer or Genji is very helpful. Especially if the Anna then throws the grenade on herself. It's very hard to kill the person through the biotic field at that point. But you're not actually very good at killing Tracer or Genji as Soldier. And if Reaper gets the drop on you, Reaper is going to kill you. Like, Soldier can kill Reaper, but if Reaper gets to you and you don't see him coming, he's going to kill you. So, you have an obligation to try and help, and you should try and help them, but at best you are probably just going to drive them off rather than kill them. You might kill them if you get the Helix Rocket in there, because that's most of Tracer's health, so you've only actually got to hit her twice and hit her with the Helix Rocket and she dies, which is easier said than done, but not that difficult. Basically to answer your question, you do have an obligation to try and help them and at least drive the person off, but not always are you going to kill them. You will quite rarely kill Genji, in fact. You just have to try and drive him away, especially since you are probably there nearby to help. Specifically if you have a Mercy on your team, usually the best thing you can do to help the Mercy is just be standing in places that Soldier likes to stand in, because Soldier is typically very far away and on high ground, so he tends to be one of those points that is always a very consistent escape route for a Mercy, because she can always GA up to you on the high ground or just far away, and then it's hard to kill the Mercy because she shot off across the map. So, the other question, we will answer it now. I will just surmise the situation to you at the end of the game. At the end of the game, the enemy team had 4/5 DPS, depending on how you count Sombra, and a Mercy. And one of their DPS was Reaper, which is in reference to this. And yeah, the last round we do almost nothing. It's a very short round. So the thing is that when the enemy team is 5 DPS and a support, or 4 DPS and 2 supports, depending on how you count Sombra, the best thing you can usually do is just change to more tanks. And this, the one team member's focus on Reaper was because some of our team changed to tanks, and he was like, well, we're changing to tanks and they've got a Reaper, we shouldn't be doing that. The best thing you can usually do is just change to more tanks, because if they are all DPS, the way that works is that they just keep killing people over and over and over again, and like the enemy team doesn't play correctly. I'm trying to think how to put this. Like, basically, you pick 5 DPS, the only way it really works is if you keep picking off people back to back to back. So the only way that works is if the enemy team doesn't play around the fact you have 5 DPS and they keep getting caught out and just keep getting picked off. The easiest way to prevent this is to just pick more tanks. Because also, if they have a lot of DPS, they have no tanks, which means their front line is actually pretty weak. And like, they had like Genji, Sombra, McCree, Reaper. Like, they didn't have DPS that really fulfilled the front line role. So their front line was actually quite weak. It's just they had a Reaper, which was the one guy's complaint. The best thing you can do is change to more tanks. Because they don't have a front line, if you just pick a bunch of heroes that are hard to kill, you can just sort of walk over them, basically. And Diva is still okay against Reaper. Defense Matrix still kind of fucks him up. It takes a while for Reaper to kill Diva. Roadhog is still good against Reaper because Roadhog can kill the Reaper. Orisa is better against Reaper than most people think she is because dancing through the bubble makes it difficult for Reaper to actually kill you. Well, the barrier, I should say. And Fortify as well. So even though Orisa's head is fucking huge, she is better against Reaper than most people think she is. And the guys, it's such a stupid argument the dude made, basically, where like, oh, because they have a Reaper, I guess we should just pick no tanks at all, is basically how I took it. Which is really stupid. Really stupid. So, basically the switch was changed to more tanks, even though they had a Reaper. And then because they have no tanks, they're all DPS heroes, you can just kinda bulldoze right over the top of them, and there's not very much they can do to stop you. Especially if your healers are like, Anna and Moira, like they are right now, because that's a lot of healing. Like, both of those heroes benefit from playing on, like, triple tank teams, so, like, just the more tanks you have, the more they benefit, because it's really hard. They do a lot of healing, and there's always someone to heal when you have a lot of tanks. So, the idea would basically just be pick, like, 3 or 4 tanks, and then just push over the top of them. But we'll talk more about, like, specific switches that would have been good when we get there. But to surmise, the basic gist of the answer is pick more tanks. Tanks. If they have a lot of DPS, pick more tanks. You will roll over the DPS because they don't have a front line to actually protect them. So now let's start the game now that we've wasted about 5 or 6 minutes. Nice. Let's go. So we're on University to start with, which is a pretty okay map for Soldier. You can get flanks, so we have to keep an eye on that. And so here we see the DPS are coming out. Here's Genji. He tried to fight us back here, didn't pick anybody off, and then us and Moira pick him off. We are slowly walking into this Roadhog that we're shooting at right now, which we shouldn't be doing because we're playing Soldier. We want to be really far away from people, not close. We're trying to get McCree to back up because we've put our biotic field on the ground, but he did not do that. We are again slowly trending closer to the entirety of the enemy team as we're doing this, and we shouldn't be doing that because we're playing Soldier. Basically, the best thing you can do is just sit over here between these 2 points and just shoot across and pressure the whole area, because that's what Soldier's good at doing. So as we can see, they do indeed have no tanks, even right now. And they do have a lot of flankers. Here comes Sombra. She has built up her ultimate quite quickly, but not much is really coming of it. Again, we're standing really close to the enemy team. We should just be standing over there at the edge of the map. So now we're tucked into the corner with the biotic field underneath us and Anna over here, and like that works for quite a while, actually, because it makes us rather difficult for us to be killed. But doesn't last forever. Again, just, not to sound like a broken record, but this is like the best place you can stand as Soldier, usually. Sometimes, like, you might want to go over this side or on the high ground on the opposite side, though the high ground over there isn't really that good. The line of sight isn't fantastic, and it's easy to get flanked up there. But usually we just sit around here, because Soldier's thing is that he pressures a very large area, so we just want to sit where we have the quite far back and we have the widest line of sight, so we can pressure the biggest area possible. In general, King of the Hill maps are a little bit awkward for Soldier because there tends to not be very many places you can sit far back, and there is almost never any high ground on any of the King of the Hill maps. McCree tends to be better at King of the Hill maps because he's a closer range soldier than fighter than Soldier is. He is better at babysitting people against flankers than Soldier is because he has hard crowd control. Soldier tends to struggle a bit on King of the Hill maps. He's pretty good on Oasis because there are places there. It has one of the few King of the Hill maps that does have some high ground to take advantage of. Decent high ground, anyway. Specifically thinking of Garden, and also City Center is pretty good. But this actually has some wide line of sights for Soldier, so he's better on this map than most other King of the Hill maps, like Ilios. I think Soldier is just really bad on because the fights are so compacted on that map. He's okay on Well, but even then, like, Soldier's, McCree is still kinda better. So, we're coming up here with McCree. It was quite funny, because Winston was calling for help with the Sombra, because Sombra was sitting on the hacked health kit, so he couldn't actually kill the person. Genji was drastically not allowed to do that. Let's watch that one again, just to focus on what a tremendously terrible decision it was. So, first off, he sees McCree, and he's like, no problem. Then he sees Soldier is with McCree, and he's like, no problem, I can do this. Dashes in. Oh shit. It's the entire enemy team, actually, and I just dashed in on people who are full HP. And he died, to no one's surprise. So, they do have a lot of flankers, so there's a lot of things to keep track of. We saw they did have a Roadhog very briefly, but even he was trying to flank us. You notice how the first time we actually saw him was him popping up behind our team? So now we've been flanked by McCree, which we didn't see coming, did we? Oh, we saw it coming. We saw it coming. This shouldn't have been a surprise to us. Okay, so, we see, oh, there goes McCree, and then, like, even just baseline, we know somebody's coming up behind us, because we can see this is going over there, so somebody's right here. It's McCree. But this shouldn't come as a surprise to us. This flank should not come as a surprise, because we can see somebody is coming up behind us. We did see him, like, walk across, but, I couldn't quite pick out the silhouette, honestly. So, we know somebody's over there, though, so then, oh, by the time we see it coming, it's already too late. So and if we're in a position where we're like, oh, by the time we see it coming, it's too late, the only thing we can do is see it coming sooner or not be standing in that position. So, we've got Tac Visor. We don't know what Nano Boost is at right now. She pinged that she had it, but she doesn't have it now, so... So, this is a risky place to start using Tac Visor, because if McCree just turns and flashbangs us, we die. Also, quite a few members of our team are currently dead. 2 people are already dead, so... However, Tac Visor is an ultimate that can swing a team fight around, so... Not the end of the world, necessarily, but... Very risky position to start using it in unless you know his flashbang is down. So... then, Genji, oh no, tries to deflect it, doesn't work, oh god, this is happening, but honestly, like, he decides that he doesn't want to kill us with it, so that just means he's gonna die as a result of that, because we're gonna shoot him, and he was getting shot by other people. So here comes Moira. Again, we're standing real close to the enemy team. We did advance in with Tac Visor, and then, like, Roadhog was kind of shoving us around, but, like, at this point, we should be trying to move our way back over here, because we want to be as far away from the enemy team as possible. Sombra herself is not threatening. Like, you don't have to worry about pushing past the Sombra. It's not like she's Reaper or anything like that. So, now that we've done our thing with Tac Visor and Roadhog's gone, we can start just walking back over there to safety. But we're still hanging out in the middle of the point. So, when this happens, we start off in a bad position, and then we can't even get out in time. Mercy does res us, though Mercy almost... No, Mercy's gonna die for it. There's like 9 people jumping in the pit after her. She actually has not died in the pit somehow? Oh no, she did die. Okay, I just didn't see it go by in the kill feed. Yeah, we shouldn't have been hanging out in the center of the point, is the moral of the story. We did move in to use Tac Visor, so fair enough, but afterwards we want to start going back again. It's not the end of the world, they've gotten control of the point, but they're at 0% and we're at 99%, so we're still pretty favored to win. Even if we fail the next push, we should come back with more ultimates to push after that and retake the point. It shouldn't be an issue. So, McCree's going off way ahead of right now, and his risks getting picked off, especially since we know they have a Roadhog right now, but he doesn't get picked off, so good times. Though he's, still trying, to this day. So, here we've come around this side, which is not the end of the world, but you do have to keep an eye on the doorway on the left-hand side, because exactly that can happen. Going through the doorway on the side like that is fine, especially if the enemy team is fighting you on the area in front of the point, but you have to keep an eye on that doorway, because that exact thing can happen, and we die for it. We do know they have Roadhog, so, and a McCree. So, shouldn't be that surprising that that happened to us. Like, if they have heroes with hard crowd control, you just have to think to yourself, you know, I have to kind of keep in mind where they are, because I don't want to end up getting right next to them and then getting killed because they stunned me. So, we're again moving into the people that we're shooting at right now, which is not what we should be doing, and it has in fact gotten worse to be doing it, because now we see that they have a Reaper as well now. But, yes, we win this round. Then this next round we lose, though it takes a while, and then the third round we lose really solidly. It's one of those King of the Hill games, you know how it goes. We've all played the King of the Hill game where it was like, oh yeah, we got it. Oh shit, we don't got it. So I pushed a button I wasn't allowed to push, by the way, and now it's gone all the way back. So it's okay, we're here now. So the reason we are prompted to change to Pharah during this round is because they have a Reaper and a Junkrat, which is fair enough. We changed to Pharah because nobody else could apparently play Pharah. Whatever. Pharah is good against that team comp, it's true, but Soldier is also good against that team comp because you can kill Junkrat from outside of his line of sight. It's hard to get picked off by just random shrapnel because you can heal yourself and you can move around quickly because Sprint is a deceptively good movement ability. And Soldier is good against Reaper as long as you're keeping an eye out for Reaper, because as long as Reaper doesn't get the jump on you, you should kill the Reaper because he has to walk at you from and he's pretty big and easy to hit. Helix Rocket is still half his health, so Soldier is good against Reaper, you just have to be really actively looking for Reaper, so it's true that Pharah does just, like, straight up counter them. Is our kill feed just, like, not showing up? Because we just killed that dude, but, like, it didn't show up at all. I confess I haven't really been looking. Yeah, our kill feed is just not turned on right now. That's weird. Turn your kill feed on. Very valuable information contained within. I remember it's one of those things that, like, you take for granted with people, because, the reason I'm trying to say hard crowd control is because saying hard CC, some people don't know what CC means, and that's something I take for granted. It's like, a lot of people don't realize how good the kill feed is, because I remember a while ago, someone said I was really surprised how much information you were getting out of the kill feed, and I was like, yeah, it tells you a lot. It tells you who died. That's pretty important information, actually. It's one of those things you don't really think about. Like, well, it's once you've played the game a lot, it's one of those things that you eventually just sort of start taking for granted. It's like, oh yeah, kill feed's important. Everyone knows that. No, not everyone doesn't know that, actually. You've had the kill feed on. I'm guessing you turned it off by accident at some point, because I've seen it on in, like, the other games that I've seen. So, this is basically what their team is during the final round, and our team does some awkward shuffling around, but basically we switch between having, like, Roadhog, Reinhardt, Zarya, Winston, blah, 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 blah. But that's basically, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what their team comp is during the final round. So, basically, because they have a Reaper, the immediate voice was like, we shouldn't have a Winston anymore, because they've got a Reaper, so therefore Winston's bad. I mean, have you looked at, like, the other 5 people on their team, though? Winston's good against all these people. He's, like, really good against these people right here. He's still good against Junkrat, obviously, but, like, he's really good against these 4 people. So you're gonna change off so one guy basically hard counters 4 people on their team, and then still counters the 5th person, but you're gonna change off of him because this dude counters him. Well, by my account, Winston counters more people on their team than Reaper, right? Like, So, we should have definitely kept the Winston. The Winston just has to make sure he doesn't jump on fucking Reaper, and it shouldn't be a problem. 'Cause, like, he kills these people pretty good. Right? Especially these 4 people. So we should have kept the Winston. Reinhardt is basically a waste of time as far as the tanks go, because there's just really nothing to block. Like, you can block this dude, and you can block this dude, and then that's it. You can block her as well, but, like, no one's gonna go saying that Reinhardt is, like, a hard counter to Moira. So, like, yeah, you can block these 2 people, but, like, Genji gets around you. If Sombra hacks you, you're not a hero anymore. She's gonna throw balls through your shield, so you're still gonna be sad, and then Reaper kills you. So Reinhardt is a waste of time as far as the tanks go. D.Va is good, because D.Va is still okay against, Reaper. She doesn't really counter Reaper anymore like she used to, but she's still okay. Blah blah blah. D.Va also is really good against Junkrat. She's still good against the support. She's good against Moira because she can eat Moira's balls. Blah 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 blah. So D.Va would be good. Roadhog is good because he kills him, kills her, and obviously still kills the supports because everyone does. So Roadhog is like really good because he's good against all these people. Genji is like the worst one for him, but still. Genji, it's not like Genji counters Roadhog, right? So Roadhog would be good. Orisa is good also because she can block this dude, she can make life difficult for this dude. Can't really do very much against Sombra, but Sombra also is probably never going to kill her either. Good against these people, better against Reaper than people think she is. So basically what I would recommend is we drop one of the DPS. I would recommend dropping Soldier over McCree, because McCree is still really good against all of these people. So I would recommend dropping Soldier, drop Reinhardt, get a Roadhog and a D.Va, or an Orisa, and that would be way better, and then you should just sort of be able to roll over them, because, like, they're all DPS, and, like, their team is really low presence at the same time, right? Because, like, Genji does not bring much presence, Sombra does not bring much presence, obviously the supports don't bring very much presence, Junkrat brings some presence, but, like, if you start rolling over the Junkrat, he has limited ways to stop you, so, like, basically their front line is Reaper. And, like, yeah, Reaper counters tanks, alright, he can't kill fucking 3 tanks simultaneously, especially if one of them's D.Va and they're getting healed by Ana and Moira. So, that is what I would have recommended the switches being specifically. But just as a general thing, if you're looking at a team comp that's like this, get 3 tanks, maybe even 4 tanks, get more tanks. If they've got DPS, it means they've got no front line. DPS need a front line to make space for them, because if they don't, they tend to get rolled over. The exception is if the enemy team just keeps getting picked, like, oh, like, you're gonna, like, we just keep getting picked off, and, like, because, like, a lot of switching happens, nobody ever really builds up their ultimates, and, like, the team doesn't want to play patiently, and they keep getting picked off, and it just ends up being really terrible. Broad thing, looking at a team that's, like, mostly DPS, play cautiously, sit back, stop getting picked off, that's gonna be, like, the biggest problem. Get more tanks, roll over the DPS because they don't have any tanks to make space for them. And that will usually be the best thing. The thing is that, like, the Overwatch community is really stupid. And it's one of those things where, like, as soon as they see 3 of something on their team, they go, bad comp, this is why we're losing. As soon as they see 3 DPS, 3 tanks, 3 supports, they just immediately go, it's bad, we're gonna lose, why y'all throwing? Like, if they've got mostly DPS, you want 3 tanks, and you just roll over them. 3 DPS is, like, not the end of the world. 3 supports is also not really the end of the world, though having 3 supports does tend to be overkill. If one of them is Moira, that's still basically a DPS. If one of them is Zenyatta, that's still basically a DPS, so it's like, eh. But it's one of those things where, like, 3 tanks is, like, quite legitimately a good decision in a lot of circumstances, but it's one of those things where people see it and they go, and this is why we're throwing. I hate the Overwatch community a lot. So that's the more specific answer to the second question from your email. So, now, we do change to Pharah during this round. Pharah is good against their team. It's no lie, but I would still keep the McCree over the Pharah just because they still have a lot of flankers, basically. And 3 tanks would help a lot. Pharah would also, like, if the McCree would wanted to change to Pharah as well, that wouldn't exactly be the end of the world, but, like, McCree is good against flankers, so. And hard crowd control is really good against Reaper and Sombra. So, it's really hard to keep track of who is alive and dead on your team without the kill feed. It's one of those things that I have indeed taken for granted, because I'm trying to figure out exactly how many members of our team are dead right now, and it's really hard because the kill feed isn't on right now. All I know is that fight started, and we did lose some people as soon as it started. I just think one of them was a support. Oh, it's one of those things where, like, now as soon as it isn't there, I'm like, ah, oh, damn. I always just, like, look at that subconsciously, and then now I'm like, fuck, now I don't know what we have. So, we have Tackleizer right now, and we are trying to arrange to use it with Ana, as one typically does. Anna's very close to it, she's just pinged that she's at 80%, which basically means she has it, because Ana builds it up really quickly. Here comes the tire, and we die to the tire. Soldier's okay at breaking the tire. So, you know, it's because Helix Rocket is really good. Oh, no, we thought about it. Don't you dare drop that tac visor on the ground when Anna's got Nano Boost. So those people are dead right now, so we have to wait for them to get back, and this is how it starts, right? Like, we've, not really regrouped as 6 people for quite a while, because people just keep getting picked off. So we're going in right now, and we're using tac visor, we're going in. Then we end up stepping on this trap that we didn't see right in front of us. That's very scary, but fortunately Diva's here, and we were nano boosted for the damage reduction, and there's a bubble there. So it even though it was, like, terrible, it's one of those things you turn around and you're like, oh, we're definitely dead. No, we actually managed to just barely slip away from that one. Watch your feet, though, because we should have been able to get the Mercy with that nano boost as well. So, yeah, turns out, tac visor is really strong. It's, like, actually one of the strongest ult combos in the game. So, good times, kill a bunch of people, we retake the point, as one does. We are now going up onto the high ground, as one also does as a soldier. This is very strong high ground. People typically are very eager to jump off of this high ground, but, like, this is a really obnoxious high ground to take control of. So we see their Mercy, you know, aim better, blah, blah, blah. So we see some people hanging out over there. Put the biotic field down. Oh no, people have snuck up on us and we've died from, like, Junkrat sneaking up on us while Genji goes in. You do have to look around very, proactively as Soldier so that, like, that doesn't happen, because Soldier is at his weakest when people get right on top of him, so you do have to, like, look around a lot just to see if anybody's coming. Listening is not always enough. You do have to, like, look around very actively as well. Listening is not enough, he says, despite never actually even listening to the video game. Because, I like to listen to music when I'm playing the game, and what's the point of having music on if it isn't loud enough to cause me hearing problems later in life, you know? So I don't even listen to the game, it's true. And I got to Masters never talking to my team, and also never listening to the video game. It just goes to show you can get by with anything, really. It's basically the same as, like, if I had a hearing impairment, I suppose. And people have gotten to Masters with hearing impairments as well. So, we are playing Pharah right now. There's not very much their team has to kill us as Pharah. We do want to avoid touching the ground at all times, though, because, oh no, all of these people can kill us if we're on the ground. Like this Reaper, he's like, oh shit, look, Pharah's right next to me, actually. Which is, you know, like, I'm not gonna say I play a lot of Pharah, so I'm not gonna be able to give you any, like, in-depth tips on how to be floating forever or anything like that, but we basically never want to touch the ground. The floor is lava, because Reaper can't kill us if we're in the sky, Sombra can't kill us if we're in the sky. She can kind of peck at us, but she can't really kill us if we're in the sky. And Junkrat, if he's a god, can kill us in the sky, but not realistically. Here's one of those situations where, oh, no, didn't quite get in range of the point to contest it, and we lose the round. Oh no. And as you can see, there is not very much time left in this game. Yeah, it doesn't go very... is there actually just something wrong with your UI right now? Because the timer isn't there either right now, is it? Like this is going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but like the countdown actual timer thing isn't there right now, so that's kind of weird. Right, like there... Now you see, now I'm worried I've, like, confused myself. Like, before the round starts, there's a timer that's, like, right here, right? Now I'm wondering if I'm crazy and I've just imagined it this entire time, despite playing this. Something that I was absolutely confident was there 100% until about 30 seconds ago, and now I'm not sure anymore, despite playing this game for probably, like, 3,000 hours. The human mind is really stupid, you know? You ever just think about, like, how stupid the human mind is? It's also, like, actually incredible, but at the same time, damn, it's really stupid, isn't it? It's just like how computers are really intelligent, but they're also really stupid because they do exactly what you tell them to do. Which sounds weird, but if you know, like, anything about programming, it's like, yeah, computers are smart, but they're also extraordinarily stupid. It's incredible. So anyway, you know, enough nonsense. So now we're playing the video game again. And we still want to avoid touching the ground. That's actually a really good concussive blast, because he's running down our Winston right now, and Winston, like, ducked in that doorway. Because we did this blast, it knocks him past the doorway, and it gives Winston enough time to actually get away and heal. So that's actually a really good concussive blast. And obviously Winston's now just going to immediately go back in again. So we are touching the ground. We do not want to touch the ground. The floor is lava right now. They also have a McCree, which is still not the end of the world. It's just a McCree, so he's like the only thing that really threatens us. Moira kind of threatens us as well, but again, as long as we don't paying around this, we shouldn't really die to that. This is a really good map to play Pharah on because there's a lot of things we can use as cover in the air, because like there's the archways over here, there's the big circle dome, there's the arches around the point as well. Let's just draw lots of lines next to each other because that's really indicative of what I'm talking about. There's a lot of cover to use in the air, so this is actually a really good map to play Pharah on as far as Oasis maps goes. Like all of this architecture we can use. We just have to like be careful that we're like using the cover and don't like drift around in open space too much. So, we do also play like 3 seconds of Roadhog during this round, by the way. But like, the fact he wasn't on the card at the start should tell you how little we play Roadhog during this game. So we are slowly trying to push up. We concussive blast for not much reason. We are, drifting very close to the enemy team again, and like far away from our team, and we end up getting killed by McCree because we're out in open space at low HP. Like, we need to be really careful about where we're floating because we know they have a McCree. We also know they have a Reaper, and we have an obligation to be looking for Reaper a lot because we counter Reaper as Pharah. But like, we should be hanging like back here, then like moving up with our team and like using these archways as cover. We instead drift like all the way over there, and that just puts like a lot of stuff between us and like getting to safety if we have to. So, and again, we're touching the floor right now, which we really want to avoid doing as much as possible. Ah, we died. Did we start using Barrage like right at the last second? No, it just kind of does this weird jitter. I was like, oh, did we start using Barrage? No. So we decide to change to Roadhog, and like actually their team changed a little bit because they have a McCree instead of a Genji. This changes 0% of the switches I said earlier. Like, Winston is still really good against all 5 of those people, and not Reaper. All the other tanks are still good. I guess Reinhardt was a little bit better than I said he was because he can block McCree and Junkrat, but still wouldn't pick Reinhardt. Would still recommend Diva or Orisa for this situation. We have now gotten Orisa. Now it's like, now we've got 3 tanks against them. No, that's exactly what we should have. We should in fact have 3 tanks. Oh, there's a Reaper! Oh, so we should just ditch all tanks immediately because they have picked a Reaper. Yes, of course, that's exactly what we do, you sensible human being. What's his name? I need to point a specific finger at you. What's your name, McCree player? Rafsy. Rafsy, you're stupid. Now, so, we've been hacked. Roadhog is a really sad hero to get hacked as. He's kind of dependent on his abilities to get stuff done, you know. So we are almost out of time right now. We haven't really had very many actual opportunities to push in. We had a little bit of latency there. It was a little bit weird how we killed the McCree. We've been hacked again, which is still really sad, and we have, you know, we're gonna lose the round. We never touched the point. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. It's very sad indeed. Oh, look, McCree's very spooky. Rafsy, you're stupid. Shut your mouth. Now, anyways, shut your damn mouth, Rafsy.
Just calm down. It's just a game, dude.
It's just a game, dude. Rafsy is also very stupid, though. So, Moira got play of the game. Moira's, like, really good at getting play of the game, but it, like, never really looks very impressive, because it's just, like, Coalescence did, like, a lot of numbers in a team fight, so, like, she gets play of the game, even though, like, the play of the game wasn't very impressive most of the time. I've gotten a lot of play of the games where, like, we actually lost the fight. It was just, like, my Coalescence put up mad numbers during the team fight, so it was like, oh yeah, that one. I remember, I think it might have been Jeff Kaplan. Someone said, very early in development, that, might have been in, like, very early beta, that when Zenyatta used Transcendence, he basically got play of the game 100% of the time, because the system, like, way overvalued healing, so it was just like, even if the Transcendence was terrible, they still just got play of the game, because, like, the numbers were too high for the system to calculate properly. Also, check it, 70% kill participation as Moira, easy money. It's very easy to get this card, actually, because you tend to touch a lot of people. So, but it always makes people feel bad. It's very easy to e-bully people as Moira, because the Genji player's like, oh, I'm carrying the game, blah, 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 and then, like, you show up in the end of the game with, like, 80% kill participation. You're like, now what, Genji? And you know that you didn't really get 80% kill participation. Your orb just touched a lot of people. But then you point at that Genji player and you go, ugh, fucking support got more kills than you, Genji. What do you think about that one? And the Genji feels bad. Even though you know you didn't really kill that many people, the stats say you killed a lot of people. And that's why the eliminations statistic is, like, actually bullshit and way overvalued by people. It's really easy to game it, actually, because 1 damage gets you an elimination. So, main things that stand out during this game, largely, like, moving into people and positioning stuff, as Soldier anyway, specifically. Well, Pharah as well, but by that point the game was kind of already... It wasn't going great by that point, but, basically positioning stuff was the main thing that stands out, as it often is. So, thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I answered your questions from the email inadequately, please let me know and I'll try to expand further. And I hope you found the video helpful.